The best way I would describe it is that you get a video game that you have to build a robot to play. And then you have your team that has to drive this robot and interact with the field in order to play this video game, which is matches between other teams.
It's just a challenge for high school kids to take basically nothing, just a little, like a chassis or something, and build from scratch a robot to complete a challenge. It's different every year. You get a challenge in January, and they have about 6 weeks to build a robot to do as much as they can. Our robot's called Lifesaver. It's based on the shape of the rings. They're kind of like Lifesaver candies. Our robot can score in all the different places on the field. It's designed to pick up off the ground. It's got an arm that allows it to score in the logo, and then you can adjust the angle to score in different places around the field too.
Our robot's name is Tinkerbell. And that's because when you turn it on, the motors make like chime-like noises. And it never did that before, but we got some new motors and now they make that noise when they turn on, and we decided to call it Tinkerbell because of that.
It's different every year. You get a challenge in January, and they have about 6 weeks to build a robot to do as much as they can. And there's all sorts of different parts of the team. People can work on building stuff, programming stuff. There's business and all the outreach kind of stuff too. It's just a chance for high schoolers to kind of just innovate and pretty much just problem solving.
Yeah, it is, but that's all right.
And in just a really cool way.
I took the radio off the board we were practicing with. Okay.
One of the coolest thing about FIRST Robotics is the amount of cooperation. In fact, it's called cooperation, where teams are competing to win, but the only way you can win is to work with other teams.
What do you want to try? Play line? Sure.
Which is why for every match, the alliances are made of 3 teams who compete against 3 teams.
Doing a little crazy stuff.
The cool community around robotics, even at our competitions, we're all down in the pits and stuff, and we're all competing against each other in some way or another. But if somebody needs a part or something's broken, they can call on the loudspeaker and teams can go and give them the part they need or help them out. So everybody's really cooperative in the community, and it's nothing really too competitive. It's all just kind of it's just got a really good vibe to it.
That sense of cooperation spreads beyond the matches to weekend activities like this, where Marshall sets up the field and invites local robotics teams to join them here. So we've got the Hermantown team and the Marshall team here working together.
It's a unique format in that whoever your opponent is might be your alliance partner the next time. So there's a part of it where you need to kind of sell your team, because at the end you have 8 teams that are going to pick whoever else from the rest of the batch is going to be their alliance partners. And if you're super competitive, they might not pick you. So you want to help as many teams as you can, because you want to make sure that if you are not in that top 8, that they will want you on their team. So you don't want to make enemies anywhere. You want to make as many friends as possible.
It's an amazing thing to see all these teams working together.
Down at the deck, there's 2 robotics competitions. They're about 50 to 60 teams each. They happen at the same time in different halves of the deck, but we were in the one called Northern Lights, and the way it goes, it was just 3 days where we play matches against all the other teams and try to get a good ranking, and then eventually you move on to the playoffs, and you try to get the most points. You can get bonus points by doing things like climbing on the chain or getting a certain number of notes into the speaker. We had a good streak. We won a lot of games, and we made it to being the 3rd seed before the playoffs. The top 8 teams select 2 other teams to make their alliances, and then there's a double elimination bracket, and the winning team goes on to Worlds. So we ended up being captains of the 3rd alliance.
Marshall, the alliance captains for the 3rd alliance, chose us as our 2nd pick.
The other team that we won with, the Tonka Bots, this is their first time to Worlds.
So we all got to win together, and thanks to that, we all get to go to Worlds now.
This is my 2nd year on the team. So last year was my 1st year, and we went to Worlds my 1st year, and now we're going again, which is pretty cool.
Hermantown Talons, Team 5232, are going to the World Championships again, 2nd time in a row.
This is the first time we've ever won a regional competition and made it to Worlds. We've been there once before, like 6 or 7 years back, but that was because of just a random drawing. So this is the first time we've ever won something like this.
The World Championships are in Houston, Texas, and it's not one competition, it's 6, back to back to back, in a convention center that is the size of 3 football fields.
It's insane. It's like the size of like several Walmarts, and with thousands and thousands of people there.
And on each of 6 fields is a full-scale competition with about 80 teams.
Max, I believe, is 5.5 meters a second.
Our team last year, where our pit was set up, where the kids work on the robot, we were right next to a team from Israel, and we were across from a team from Brazil. It was really cool to see all of those kids from all those places. And that sense of like collaboration and cooperation spread throughout the convention. So kids are going from team to team, asking for help or asking to borrow parts or coordinating strategy. And so watching all these kids from little Hermantown, Minnesota have to go figure out how to communicate with this team from Brazil, it was just super cool.
The teams that do the best are the teams that can hold up through all of the different matches. So you have to have a solid bot because things break. And you have to plan for that. So it's like, well, what do we think might break? And you build extra of them because something will break. It's guaranteed.
It's like the Olympics of competitive robotics. Every team hopes and prays that they get a shot at the World Championships, and most teams don't. You can only qualify for Worlds by winning a competition or by winning the prestigious Impact Award or by winning the engineering award from NASA. So to get to go is unbelievable.
And it's just a really cool opportunity that you don't really get anywhere else.
Just to see all the stuff that we designed and all the different things we put into it working out.
No, it's pretty good.
We've all spent a long time building the robot and going through different designs and changing things. So for the whole team, it's just a gratifying experience because we've all been working really hard for the last 6 weeks to build this. And it's just nice to see it all paying off.